what really I'm so passionate about Facebook ads, especially for small makers, is that even with a small budget, you can get in front of people who are just as passionate about your niche as you are.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, episode number 83. This is Tracy Matthews, the Chief Visionary Officer over at Flourish and Thrive Academy. And I'm excited to be here today, as usual, particularly because so many of you have lots of questions all the time about Facebook ads. So today I have a very special guest who I met a couple years ago, randomly through Marie Forleo's B School, sort of in a roundabout way. And my guest today, Kathleen Cutler, is a digital marketing expert, and she focuses on helping product-based businesses grow their brands online with paid and free marketing advice. So she is a Facebook ads expert, especially for product-based businesses. And so I'm really excited to have her come on the show today because she's already partnered with Flourish and Thrive Academy in so many ways. She's done trainings for our Mastermind group, and she's also come in and done some live office hours for our Diamond Insiders Club. And I know this girl, she's a wealth of knowledge. So I'm very excited to bring her in to talk a little bit more about Facebook ads 101. So I know a lot of you might be curious about different Facebook ad strategies because you're trying to maybe like haphazardly run some ads and you're not getting the results that you want. And you're not really looking at your Facebook ad strategy from a 360 perspective. You can't just put an ad up or promote a post and expect people to come. You need to think holistically about your plan and what you're actually doing with the ads. So Kathleen's going to talk a lot about that today. I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited for this episode because it's really great. Plus, we've curated a really amazing resource for you that you can grab on over at the show notes. So we have our Facebook ads blueprint that Kathleen curated, which is really awesome. You can head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 83 to download that. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 83. All right, let's dive right in to this awesome interview with Kathleen Cutler. Today, I have a very special guest on the Thrive by Design podcast. And over the years, people have been asking how to use Facebook ads. And there's a bunch of different strategies out there. And I'm sure you're hearing a lot of different things about how to use Facebook ads for your business. But the problem is, I feel like in a lot of cases, is a lot of the information about Facebook ads isn't necessarily directed to a product-based business like a jewelry business. So today, I have Kathleen Cutler on to talk us through Facebook Ads 101 for jewelry designers. Kathleen, thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be here.
It's awesome to have you. So Kathleen and I met a couple of years ago. I think she reached out to me because she was going to take Marie Forleo's B School, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you reached out, you wanted to ask me some questions about B School. So we chatted a little bit. We ended up meeting for drinks in New York at a separate time, got to know each other. You were working for a jewelry brand called Market Square Jewelry at the time, I think.
I was actually looking to design my own brand. I was working for a different jeweler making handmade jewelry at the time. And I thought I wanted to design my own brand.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And then found this niche behind the scenes that I love even more.
So I love that. So we totally random, like roundabout way. We met like online and we sort of lost touch maybe for like a year or two. And then Kathleen reached out to me because I was looking for someone to help us with some Facebook ads and some Facebook ad trainings. And she is now doing digital marketing specifically for product-based businesses. And she has a huge background in the jewelry industry. So I'm so excited because Kathleen's been doing a lot of trainings for our Diamond Insiders Club and also for our Mastermind program. So I'm really excited to have you here.
So fun to be here. I really am so passionate about designers and helping people figure out the puzzle of how to market online. I've been in the online industry for about 10 years. I started doing podcasting about 10 years ago when I lived out in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, you did? No way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that about you.
With podcasts and various online media, especially for small businesses. Any job I've ever had, I've always looked at their social media strategy and figured out how we can make it better. If it wasn't existing, how we can start it. I just have such a strong passion for online marketing.
I love it. So I can't wait to hear a little bit more about your wisdom. But before we dive in and we learn more about your journey, I'm just going to give a little quick professional bio of you so people can get a little taste of your background. So Kathleen Cutler has spent 10 years supporting small business navigating the online world, combining her natural skill set with serious know-how She helps e-commerce owners build successful businesses, reach their goals, and serve their dream clients one step at a time. So I'm so excited to have you here. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today?
Sure, I'd love to, Tracy. So as I mentioned, been doing this for quite a while. So I've seen a lot of trends happen. I found myself in the jewelry industry as a designer or an aspiring designer, and actually got an internship with a brand based out of Northampton, Massachusetts called Rebecca Brooks Jewelry. So I got an internship with them. They made all handmade jewelry. So I was actually on the bench for about a year and a half, 2 years, making jewelry on her handmade line. So that included ordering, polishing castings, soldering, all wire wrapping, a lot of the things that you guys talk about on this podcast and certainly in all the groups. So I love hopping into those conversations. But what I really found I loved within her business was organizing engagement rings. We had a lot of antique engagement rings. I loved organizing from the diamond sales all the way down to the castings, working with our bench jewelers to have the finished product and then presenting it to the client. So my next step was to be more on the sales floor. So I found a job with an antique and estate jewelry company based here where we moved in southern New Hampshire, doing in-person sales. So it was all antique and estate jewelry. We had, 100,000 pieces in 4 brick and mortar stores. And then I got, as usual, as based on my prior career, I had always had my hand in the social media. So I was like, what are we doing here? And they had just recently started an e-commerce arm of their business. It had started on Etsy and did just fantastic, really unique product, had over 7,000 items online. So that's when I stepped into the e-commerce side of the business. And the feeling of that I want for all my clients is that feeling of waking up on a Saturday morning and having made sales overnight.
Yes.
Is so fantastic.
So great.
There's nothing like it. We're on commission, so I could wake up on a Saturday morning and have made money overnight. So I loved it. And it just really pulled together a lot of my experience, in that 10 years of working to support online businesses with their social media strategy, their online presence. It pulled everything together. And we built a beautiful website. It was gorgeous and huge, really big project. And we launched it and needed to get bodies into the store. We needed to find traffic, as I know a lot of the people listening to this podcast might currently be experiencing or certainly have experienced in the past. So I fell in love with combining my skill set that I had acquired through various positions, including time at the GIA. I am a graduate diamond grader. So just loved the jewelry world, loved the tech, digital advertising world, and realized that for product-based businesses, there's nothing really out there that helps them bridge the gap between digital advertising for service-based coaches, digital products, to product-based businesses. And because I've sold, diamonds in person and also diamonds online, I know that the selling technique is just a little bit different for product-based businesses. So through my search of how to get more traffic to the website, I realized there wasn't quite anything out there. So I did decide to go out, teach myself everything I could. And I got my hands dirty with some really big brands, kind of brands that spend $5,000 in 15 minutes. So I've gotten to see behind the scenes of some pretty big launches, see what works, see what doesn't. And I love working with your designers in particular because they're so passionate, they're so ready to go. And lots of times it can be close to the last piece of the puzzle for them to really feel like they can make it online.
So digital marketing, I loved everything that you said. I loved your experience. And I love, the thing that I love about you and why I love having you come speak to our community as well is because you really do have a solid background in the jewelry industry. I mean, you're a diamond grader. You went to GIA, you worked on a bench, you know all this stuff. So it's pretty cool. And digital marketing is a pretty expansive world. I mean, there's a lot of facets to it, but you love Facebook ads. So tell us a little bit more why Facebook ads.
Sure. So Facebook ads are such an amazing opportunity in the kind of the scope of advertising. We've entered such an awesome time. And actually today, the date of our recording is the 13th anniversary of Facebook. And Facebook has offered now with their advertising platform, the easiest barrier to entry for any business in the history of advertising. It's actually, in my opinion, revolutionizing how advertising happens and is effective. And what really I'm so passionate about Facebook ads, especially for small makers, is that you can get, even with a small budget, you can get in front of people who are just as passionate about your niche as you are. And, for your brand and for an example, you do heirloom redesign. You could find a group of people who love heirloom jewelry and maybe have pieces lying around that they don't know what to do with. And it's just such an awesome moment. Whereas prior to Facebook advertising or Pinterest advertising or this really heavy demographic-based advertising, you would put a billboard up, which would potentially be cost prohibitive, or you'd buy a TV ad. Like there's such an amazing moment in e-commerce, but certainly in advertising in general with Facebook ads.
That's amazing. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing all that, because I think it's really crazy. I mean, I can't believe Facebook's been around for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nuts. I think I got on it maybe 9 or 10 years ago. I think right when I moved to New York, which was about 10 years ago. So crazy. So I know a lot of people, so I hear this all the time. A lot of people just throw up an ad and they're like, I'm not getting any results, or no one's clicking it, or they're spending money and they don't feel like anything's happening with it. So it's not really a good idea to just throw something up, because it's kind of a waste of money, especially if you don't have a strategy. So can you tell us a little bit more how to effectively use Facebook ads, especially for a jewelry business?
Sure. And that's a great question. And one I talk with my clients and in your groups about a lot is the idea that we have three. So to circle back, I believe that e-commerce stores are a lot like physical retail stores. Mm-hmm. And I'd imagine a lot of your people who are listening to this podcast have either spent time shopping for jewelry in retail stores or working behind the counter in a jewelry store. And our clients online are the exact same way. We have clients who are walking by and window shopping. So that's the awareness. They just know you're on the corner. We have people who've come into the shop, looked around, maybe asked to see a few things. And then when people come back in for that second time, maybe they spend a little bit more time in the store. You start taking out, I always come back to diamonds because that's where I did a lot of selling, was selling diamonds behind the counter. You pull out the tray, you start showing them diamonds first time. They walk back in with their mom or their best friend. I know I'm more likely to make a sale at that point. They're a warmer audience. We're almost retargeting them. And then we have somebody come in who, he comes in, we had clients when I worked in brick and mortar who would come in once a month, twice a month to buy something fairly expensive, which was really fun. And they had collections that they were looking for. And we sold antique and estate. So they were on the hunt for Victorian jewelry, or they loved Edwardian jewelry. Mm-hmm. So anything we had, if I could recognize them, pull out what they liked before, they were like sold, we basically rang the cash register. So Facebook advertising allows you to have those steps. It allows you to have the awareness step, like get more people to just see your brand, hear just a touch about you, watch a video. You're able to retarget. So people who've been to your store and didn't purchase, people who have been, say twice in the past week, you could send them a certain ad. And then loyalty, people who've come in often, purchased a bunch, you can serve them a different type of ad.
Oh, that's so cool. I love all the different ways. And it's really about having these multiple different ways to sort of hit them up.
Exactly.
Hit them up, serve them up with some ads.
Serve them up. And it really is serving them. It's really getting, I really believe in product-based businesses, and it's getting the right offer in front of the right person. And it's almost being bold enough to be niched enough to really speak to the right person. And I think that that's a challenge a lot of people have with being one foot in wholesale, one foot online. Is in wholesale or brick and mortar, anyone who walked into the store, I would serve. Please come in. We had things for everyone. We had pieces at one jewelry store I worked at from like $30 to $30,000 to $70,000. We offered everything. But online, having more of a stance, having more of a niche, having more of what in my business I call brand personas. And I think you guys call it something just slightly different, but the same idea of having really an ideal customer. Ideal customer makes a huge difference in the success of your ads. So lots of people kind of pop into the back end of Facebook and boost a post, but don't have maybe they haven't really dove into the persona work. Maybe they don't have the targeting set up, or they're not sure at what phase, if they're the acquire, retargeting, or loyalty phase, they're targeting people.
It's really interesting. And this is a little bit of a digression, because this is important because a lot of people are boosting posts. And a lot of people in our community are trying to just get likes on their page. And so it's like in all of our groups, there inevitably comes up like a Facebook page thread. We're like, post your Facebook page below so we can all follow each other, or post your Instagram page below and we'll all follow each other. But those aren't your ideal clients. Those are just other people. And I think that people forget that, even sometimes I forget, when I'm doing stuff for Flourish and Thrive, like it needs to be really targeted towards the right people. And if your page is full of, if you're boosting a post and your page is full of people who are just like your peers, they're not really your audience. So there needs to be like deeper thought put into that.
That's a really good point. And I think Facebook, for all of its brilliance, does a fantastic job of potentially wasting your money. You're basically just showing up to a gambling den. It's not, the house is going to win most of the time, but with education and a strategy, you can walk in to the gambling den with just more like, and I say that in full jest, like I do Facebook ads all day. I think I see amazing returns for my clients. There's some great things out there, and they're a very smart business that makes it easier and easier to just spend $20, not think about it, not see any results, but spend $20 next week. So it's really looking at some of those, like the likes being a vanity metric. Sometimes, I think there's a lot of credibility and like social proof of having a bigger Facebook page. If you have 10 people who like your Facebook page, maybe you would want to do some liking, even if they aren't your ideal clients, but you would not want to advertise to those people because, as you mentioned, they most likely won't buy from you because they're busy on their bench. They can get it all wholesale from Myron Toback, or, they don't need to they're not going to buy from you. Whereas I always use this example, and it's out of industry, but it's such a poignant example. I have a client, he sells coffee. And before we started working together, he sold coffee to anybody online. Like, you drink coffee, you're my client. And he hadn't been able to gain traction. He has a brick and mortar store, and obviously he serves everybody who comes in, whatever kind of coffee they want. But he's an Armenian fellow, and online he had this like niche Armenian coffee, super hard to find at this quality. He sold all the accompany pots you needed and perfect little cups that are really hard to find as well. He's based in San Francisco. And when we started advertising Armenian coffee, we found about 500,000 interests, or people who showed interest in Armenian culture online in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't even tell you, Tracy, how popular these ads are. They have like thousands of shares and so much traction behind them because people, and like the comments almost make me tear up because I've learned so much about Armenian culture that I didn't know before, but there's a lot of people, refugees or displaced people, came to the United States. So it's so nostalgic. And on these threads, people are saying like, oh, my grandmother used to read the coffee grounds for me, or I haven't had this in 30 years and I can't find it anywhere. And how do I order it? And, you need to order this, like just sharing with friends. And so exciting. And it wasn't until he like niched down, and like he doesn't want to be known as the Armenian coffee guy. Like he wants to
sell coffee.
Sell coffee. And like he's happy, it's his heritage. He's second generation coffee roaster. He's super proud of it. But he felt like on his edge of, he didn't want his friends to think they couldn't come into his store, like just all these pieces.
Yeah.
But online, it's almost what it takes is knowing your persona inside and out, and then in subsequent ads, we can write things like, hey, remember reading the coffee grounds from your Armenian coffee? And then someone's like, oh my gosh, of course I do. And it's just, you really start to speak to them.
You dig deep into information. So we kind of so that was really great to understand like a little bit more about brand persona and like really diving deep into your dream client. Tell us a little bit more about like your favorite strategy for Facebook ads.
Sure. So right now, Facebook is doing a huge push for video. And I think this will be relevant for a long time. They're trying to surpass YouTube, kind of the Snapchats, just really have a heavy hand in video. If you take out your phone while you're listening to this podcast and start scrolling through your Facebook feed, especially on mobile, you'll see that, if you count maybe every third post is video. Like it's just really popular. It's really, really cheap. Video is one of my favorite ways to get more awareness or eyes on your brand. So, your persona, first step, you have a video lots of times people have like makers videos. I know that's something you guys talk a lot about. A makers video can be really powerful. Lots of times if my clients don't have that, we offer a service where we shoot an unboxing video for them.
Oh, super cool.
It's so cool and really popular on Facebook. So yeah, they would basically your packaging so beautiful, unwrapping any bows, and then actually opening the piece, maybe putting it on, holding it up to the light. It's just basically, if for video content, what we're looking for is someone enjoying whatever it is you're selling. I always come back to on Facebook, you're there to do three things. You're there to like see what your friends are up to, like read interesting articles. So, link away from Facebook and then get recommendations from friends. So anything that feels like another human recommending something to you is where you start to get that social proof, where you get people sharing your content. So video at the very top of the funnel for your awareness traffic, I found to be like just the most powerful right now.
So let's dumb down the term funnel. Can you explain what that means?
Sure.
People who don't speak in digital marketing language.
Right.
I mean, I know what it means, but
I love it. Thank you, Tracy. And I'm always at risk for going into my own head. So I really appreciate you reminding me. So basically what we're looking at is the funnel we talked about. So many jewelry designers I speak with are so visual. So I love to come back to the store. So the funnel is basically, so you launch your e-commerce store and you're so excited. You spent so much time on it. Maybe a year plus, maybe you spent $30,000. Like you just are so proud of your website, but you launch instead of downtown New York City, you launch the middle of nowhere. There's no signs, there's no bridges, no one knows you're there. So the very kind of top of the funnel, or getting people just even to walk by your store, is the awareness kind of campaign that we're talking about. And then we do the other parts of the funnel. So top of funnel is acquire, awareness. Second thing is retargeting. And then the third piece of traffic is loyalty. So that's how I often think of a funnel. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. And I think that just the term funnel, it's just a marketing term. So it's just, a funnel is just a way to get people into another sales term would be like into your pipeline or onto your email list or into your sort of marketing web. And then have that be an opportunity to like sell them something.
Fantastic. Yes. And it's on Facebook, it's so much soft selling. So I think this is where people get stumped with Facebook ads. If there was one thing I see product-based businesses get stumped with the most, it's like asking for the sale right away. And, to bring it back to another analogy, like selling online is a lot like dating. Like you walk into a bar, you see someone super cute. You're not like, let's get married. Can I have your credit card? You're not asking for their credit card. You're not asking for the sale right away, but you would sit next to them, ask how their day was, see if you can learn anything about them. And then as you get further into that relationship, you can start asking more questions, maybe go out for a second drink, that kind of thing. And digital advertising is fairly similar. At the beginning, you're soft selling. You're just doing awareness. You're getting your video in front of the right people. And then if they engage, then you start maybe with some even educational articles. Like you're still not even talking about the sale. And then if they ask, they go a level deeper, they like sign up for your email list, as you mentioned, they might put something in their cart. At that point, you're like, oh, hey, this is in your cart. And maybe you do a discount. Or lots of times what I do is like read through live chat information from my clients or customer emails and start to answer questions they almost don't even know they have yet. But it's not until they've touched you or hit your website or interacted with you maybe once or three times that you sell anything to them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just like buy my necklace right away. It's bringing the brand awareness around so that they even like know who you are in the first place. And then from there, getting them to the next step.
Exactly. So that's the funnel. We look at acquire or awareness, retargeting, and then loyalty, which is where lots of my brands make the most money is by once somebody's made one purchase, if they can make a second purchase.
Yes.
Like they are your people. Like I'm sure you see that in your business, Tracy.
Well, my business is like 50% referral based. I know the power of the repeat customer because the people who are customers of mine buy and buy again, and the good ones, they buy again, and then they refer people. And that's the place you want to be, is people sharing what you do. And that's really the foundation of the sharing economy. So this is a great strategy and a great way to get people to actually buy once and then also buy for a second time.
It's amazing. And like, this is when, so we talk a lot about, another term we talk a lot about is CPA, or cost per acquisition, is what we call it in my business. It's called a lot of different things, but yeah, cost per acquisition. So how much does it cost to get someone new through the door? And we talk a lot about lifetime value, which you just mentioned. I'm sure if you were able to calculate both the hard lifetime value of a client who repeat purchases, but then also the soft value of the referrals that they bring in, I mean, you would probably pay, I don't know, $500 to get a new person in the door if they were going to buy from you again and again and refer more clients to you that would also then refer.
Yeah. Well, this has happened to me. I have this client, Kelly and Tyler, who they bought from me like 4 or 5 years ago. Then they like literally referred at least 7 people to me, and they all bought. And then they referred this one guy, Kyle, to me. Kyle's already sent me 6 people in 1 year. It's crazy. I'm just like finishing up a ring for his friend right now. So it's nuts. Like all these things, it's just the referral thing is crazy. And those are the kinds of customers you want. And a lot of these customers in particular, they're young, they're just like getting engaged. They don't have a ton of money. So their first sale is like an important purchase to them. They'll probably come back for a second sale at some point. But for this particular demographic where these people keep referring, the referrals are like even more valuable than the repeat business. But I have other clients, like my client Liam, who I talk about all the time, who buys like 3 or 4 pieces a year, and he drops a ton of cash, like $30,000, $40,000 a year for his wife, because I make it really easy for him to buy gifts for her. He's not a huge person who refers me to a ton of other people, but he's a great repeat client. So there's like different ways to look at it.
And it's so like when a client comes on, I'll often run their lifetime value. So we'll look at, hey, here are the top 10% of your people. Here's where 80% of your revenue comes from, is often from the top 50%. So they could almost lose the bottom 50% lots of times in their businesses and still maintain the top 80% of their revenue.
80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule, exactly. So the loyalty piece is so critical to just remind people there's so many options online. It's like, it's mind-boggling. But if somebody has a good, easy experience with you, especially buying jewelry, right? There's just such a level of trust to purchase jewelry online.
Absolutely.
You have to trust that it's priced well. Am I going to like it? What's their return policy? So if you've already been through that barrier of entry with somebody where they've actually purchased from you, like do whatever you can to get them back in the door for that second time. If it's discounting, if it's sending personalized emails, if it's, where you pick out something that would go with whatever they purchased, like whatever it is that you can do to build that relationship. Because what I see in most of my clients' businesses is the bottom 50% don't purchase again. But then once they purchase again, they start to represent so much more revenue because then they just purchase again. Like it's just so easy at that point for them. And then you're their go-to jeweler.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, totally. It's the best experience. And, I wish everyone would have a cycle of repeat business, and Facebook ads are a great way to start it. So we have a little special thing for the audience.
We do.
We're
excited.
Yeah, we're excited. So Kathleen put together your first Facebook ads blueprint. You can grab that download by going over to episode number 83 over at flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 83. We'll have a link in the show notes, or you can grab it directly over at flourishthriveacademy.com/FB ads blueprint. That's flourishthriveacademy.com/FB ads blueprint. All right, Kathleen, where can everyone find you?
So my team and I are over at KathleenCutler.com, and we specialize in 3 areas of e-commerce businesses. We do Facebook advertising, content marketing, and email marketing. We're Shopify partners. We work extensively with Klaviyo, which is an e-commerce specific email marketing tool. So we work with clients from $0 a month online, kind of that $0 to $5,000 a month online price point, to people who are doing $250,000 a month online. So I pride myself that our team can grow with people, and it's really just getting the right foundations in place, the right strategy, and building on it, at whatever pace your business is ready for.
I love it. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for being here today. You guys, make sure you go check out Kathleen. She's amazing. And if you're in our Diamond Insiders Club or you're in our mastermind, you already know Kathleen. So stay close by and make sure you download the blueprint. Kathleen, thank you so much for being here today.
So fun, Tracy. I love your audience, and it's always a pleasure to help the good product people out there understand digital marketing.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening to the episode today. Wasn't Kathleen awesome? Yeah, she's amazing, right? Anyway, make sure you grab our Facebook ads blueprint. It's really awesome. Head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 83. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. It's great to be here today, as usual. I'm looking forward to supporting you more in your jewelry business in the near future. So can't wait for next week. Until next time, take care and have an awesome day.